up, you beautiful collectors and action figure fans? It's the one and only Optibotimus coming with another video review. And on today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the new Hot Toys MMS 461 of the die-cast Iron Man Mark IV from Iron Man 2. Their 21st figure in their movie masterpiece die-cast series. And this is one that I think myself and a lot of collectors were really looking forward to when they started the die-cast line. For the package, much like every other die-cast figure that we've gotten, you got this really nice kind of sketched image of Iron Man there. It's on this plastic overlay, and then underneath that is actually the box itself, and you can see that it's kind of printed. When you get it, you know what I'm talking about. You got the Iron Man 2 Mark IV logo right down there. The side has a continuation of that art, same as this side. On the back of the package, you got the cast and crew responsible for making the figure, and then as always, it just slides up just like so, revealing an inner foam piece, which as you can see has the Mark IV kind of printed right into the foam, and then you have this little piece that comes down, allowing you to check out the figure as well as all of his accessories. Well, not all of his accessories, because some of them are actually stored in this little back piece. But if you've seen any of my other Iron Man die-cast figure reviews, the packaging is almost really identical. It just changes based on whichever figure we're looking at. So without further ado, let's get this out of here and get the figure out here and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have the new die-cast Iron Man Mark IV opened up and out of his packaging. And I gotta say, Morris, I am really regretting having sold this exact figure to you. Now, coming down and taking a look at the accessories, first and foremost, as I always do, he doesn't come with a ton, but he does come with some really nice pieces. But in addition to the two fisted hands that are currently on him, he also comes with a right and left hand that is, these are the repulsor blast ones. Repulsor blast hands. As you can see, you have that nice angle for the wrist so you can plug it in, get a nice blast pose form going with these hands. Real nice detail, fairly similar to everything that we've gotten before. The wrist guard here, as you can see, this is permanently affixed in this position, so it's going to always be like that. But when you take a look at, say, the other pair of hands, which are the articulated fingers, this piece here moves. I want to say that the wrist ones that are currently on there with the fist also move. So while these ones are permanently in that position, these do articulate, and then the rest of the fingers do have those articulation points as any finger would basically have. You just have little hinges. The thumb here is on a ball joint and a hinge. You also do have that clear piece for the repulsor, much like the blast hands that allows the light that's in the wrist here to kind of bleed through. So that's fairly standard. You get that as well. You also do get a lot of different weapon accessories. These are all plugged into his arm, and I'll show how to do all that here in a bit, but zooming in here, they're basically identical. They're just opposite sides. You can see some nice painted in detail in there. You got some silver in there. You got some gold tips on the missiles. Obviously, you can see that all these little sections here look like they lift up, and then the little red compartments as part of the armor kind of hide all of that. So you do have that one. You also have these ones, if my camera will focus. There we go. So again, nice open look with the red panel on the outside. Some nice silver detail in there. Looks like a little bit of black highlighting some of the different crevices. Also, you have the nice gold on the little missile tip right there, which looks really very nice. You get another open set of those little tiny missile pieces with the nice silver paint on the inside there, gold on the tip for that, and then again you got the red section coming up. Some more opened up sections with the red lifting to reveal missiles underneath. These ones are a little bit harder to see, but in the right light you can still see that you have the nice little silver section on the bottom, and then the missiles themselves are silver with some gold tip as well. And then for the shoulder cannons, or I should say the shoulder missiles, you can see that these little pieces just are attached to the panel, and then this section here is permanently attached, but it hinges up and down so that you can kind of make it look like it's articulated and coming out. And then you can see the intersection here has some nice gold added onto those little missile pieces. Now, because this is from Iron Man 2, where the suit was first debuted, if you remember, at the end of the first Iron Man movie, the Mark III was basically destroyed. This suit came out at the very beginning when Tony used it to fly into the opening of the Stark Expo. Eventually, him and Rhodey got into a big fight while Tony was drunk, and in the morning he went to, well, what's actually Randy's Donuts, which is in LA, and I've driven past there many times, and I always kind of imagine Iron Man sitting in it. As you can see, he does come with a donut. The thing that stings, it just says fresh donut on there. It is what it is. It's a little bit, I don't want to say cheap, but it's just cardboard. And then you do get a chocolate glazed donut, which, you know, you get a chocolate glazed donut. I mean, the original one came with it as well. So this is where I'm like, I don't know if they reuse this or not. But you can have him holding that. You can put that right in there. You also do get a generic coffee cup coming in to see this. It's probably going to be hard to see because, you know, white background, white cup. But when I say it's generic, it's totally generic. So there's no markings on there whatsoever. Not Randy's, not Starbucks, anything like that. But if you look at it, you obviously know what it's from. That doesn't open or anything. But again, I don't know if this is a reuse of something previously. I don't, unfortunately, have the original Mark IV here with me. I'm in my new apartment and I haven't moved all that stuff over yet, so I'm not 100% sure about that. But also you do get a new, well, again, I don't know if it's new. It looks fantastic. If this is the portrait that they used back in the day, it's an amazing one. I don't think it is. I do think it is a completely new portrait, but wonderful, wonderful likeness to Robert Downey Jr. as he appeared in Iron Man 2. It's a little bit different. He has a little bit younger of a look, but I think that the portrait is phenomenal. It absolutely is. And then you also do get a pair of, well, I think there were Ray-Bans in the movie. These don't have any marking or anything, but you can, you can totally tell that they are Ray-Ban style glasses, and you can just put that over his ears, recreate that look, which is amazing. I love it. I have a lot of different actual Tony Stark sunglasses. You guys have seen me wearing them and everything. They're the actual ones that were created by the company for Robert Downey Jr. and Marvel for these movies. So like things like the sunglasses that he wore in Civil War, I have a pair of those. The pair that he wore in Infinity War, I have a pair of those. I actually don't have a pair of these ones, so might want to add that on there. And then you also do get this little section right here that you can put at the bottom of his neck. Is that the right way? Yeah, I think it goes like that, yeah. So if you want to take the helmet off, you can have this on there, and you can obviously like recreate that scene where he's sitting in the big giant donut of Randy's Donut. So you do have that. You also do have a fairly generic display stand, which I like. I don't like the fact that they just went with like a printing thing on here. I wish they still put the little silver bit on there, but you see Iron Man 2, Mark IV, and then Iron Man 2 in this nice glossy text. You just have an adjustable cradle. I like it. It's small. It doesn't take up a lot of space, and it's functional. So I know some people would have liked to have gotten a flight stand with it. That's one thing that I do wish, if you're going to give us like those flight stands, I do like getting those. So I don't know why we can't get different ones just to kind of round things out. But for his accessories, that's everything. Now coming in to take a closer look at the Mark IV, once again, Hot Toys has done an amazing job with Iron Man here. And this is, it blows me away. It really, really does. As I'm holding him here, you really feel a sense of the weight that the die-cast really adds, and that weight really does translate to kind of a higher quality to it. I mean, the plastic ones are not bad, but when you feel that compared to what you're feeling here, it really is kind of mind-blowing. The other thing that really does stand out is just how gorgeous the paint applications are. The gold has a really nice deep look to it, which also has a very nice reflective quality. The red also has that, very vibrant with the colors. Obviously, again, you can see the nice reflection with it. So even when you're looking at parts like, I'm trying to feel, like this piece right here, this is die cast, but you can see that the color on it matches almost perfectly with the chest, which is plastic. Now, much like all the Iron Man figures, you do get light up functions. You remove that like so, remove that. You have a little switch right inside there, and then you put all of this back. You drop that mask, you put it in there. Gorgeous light up eyes, which obviously you would expect an Iron Man figure to have. The standard light up stuff is all functional in this, so you do have that. Come down here to the bottom section. The chest looks great. You can remove this chest piece, just pull that away, and then you get a tremendous amount of detail on the inside here with some really nice paint applications as well. You can see a gorgeous looking arc reactor, and then for that light up, you come around here to the back. You got this little panel here. It's a little bit tricky to get in there because no fingernails. There we go, just pull that out. And then you got the little switch on the back here that you bring that around, lights that up. Very subtle though. Even when you put it on there, it doesn't really do a heck of a lot, but it does still look really nice and is very, very bright. And you can also kind of see kind of like the halo around it, which looks really very nice. That was something that really did initially kind of surprise me, because I'm so used to all the arc reactors being insanely bright. I mean, and this is bright, but I shouldn't say insanely bright, but it encompasses the entire opening, and this doesn't. So that kind of put me off at first, but it still looks really very good. Great panel lines here with the gold that comes through, some extra accents in the chest. Now, one aspect about this figure that is a huge improvement is what affectionately was known as the pink panty syndrome, I guess. In the original, all the plastic was there except for the panty section, which is the crotch area, the butt area. That was a rubberized plastic, and because of it, the paint eventually faded. So there was a noticeable difference between the beautiful red that the rest of the figure had and this, which became pink. This, being now all hard plastic, fixed that, which is really nice to see. You come down to the legs again, great, nice detail on there. One thing that I mean, like, you look at it here, it's kind of, I don't know how well that's gonna come across, but throughout the entire figure, you can definitely see it. Like here, there's a lot of scratching. Now the scratch work, and you can kind of see some right there. You look down here at the legs, that's in there. That's all accurate. Well, I mean, it's added on there as part of the overall look for the suit. But I feel like this one has a little bit more than I'm kind of used to, like especially down here in the legs. It's not bad. You look here in the back, and I guess you're going to have that. He's got a bunch of scuffs there on his butt, but that's part of it. It's not something that, you know, when you got out of the package, it's not like the figure's damaged or anything. I honestly feel like this one has a little bit more than what I'm used to, which it's not a bad thing. I just wanted to point it out. Now, for the head swap, you just pull this head off. This can get a little bit tricky to pull out because it's all down here, but you can see that Robert Downey has a neck section that this piece has to be removed as well. And there's really no easy way of doing it than just kind of forcing it out there. Then you're going to take this piece, you're going to set this down on the inside like so, and then take the neck, pop that down and in just like that, so you can create that look. And then again, if you want to, you can put his sunglasses on, which I just think looks so very Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark-ish. I love it. People have talked about how they think that the head is oversized by comparison to this. Maybe, but only because of his hair. I feel like that's really what kind of makes it look pretty poofy. So popping this off, you just pull that whole thing off, take this, pop that back on there, and put that on as well. Now, looking at some of the kind of features that are built into it, he does have these missile sections that lift up. They're built into the figure. You can also then take these, kind of get these out of the way, and these pull up. They're just little magnet sections, and then you take that and you put that on there. So you kind of replace those panels. Previous versions would have an actual sliding mechanism, and then these could pull out It's not that big of a deal. It doesn't bother me all that much. It's a little bit quicker to do it this way, and you don't have to worry about extra parts, I guess, over time getting damaged. In terms of the arms, we've seen this before, so I'm not going to really go too much into it. You got all these different sections in here that separate. Here, let me rotate that. So like that will pull away, and then what you do is when you pull this piece off, you find basically the corresponding part like that, so you can kind of see how they're shaped, and then you will just peg that in there. Maybe there we go. Wait, get that lined up. If I do it right, you know, so something like that. So you're just gonna go through and kind of replace those panel pieces. I'm not gonna do all of it, but you get the idea. It's very similar to what we've seen with like the Mark 6. So if you have that, you kind of know how the arms basically detach and everything. You come around here to the back section, you do have the air flaps that can lift up on both sides, just like so. So when he's falling to the ground, you can have that. The little mesh is now permanently attached to the underside here. I don't remember if the original one had a separate piece, but it doesn't bother me really all that much. It stays down nice and flat, which is good. Obviously, you have the arc reactor for the hand. That's on the inside here. This is a little bit tricky to get to. You pull this piece away. There's a little wedge section right here that, again, lack of fingernails really makes things difficult to show you guys, but you just wedge your fingernail in there, and then the switch is on the inside of this bicep, which turns on. That I wish it was in a little bit easier of a place to get to, but it's not terrible, I guess. So you do have some extra things built into them. You can come down here to the ink or the back of the cab here. This piece you can see slides out a little bit, so you can have some extra detail on the inside there. A lot of overall really nice features that are built into this guy. Great options in terms of display. These little panel pieces here can get a little bit a pain in the butt to get them to lay down flush, but you just kind of fiddle with it, get it looking good. And like I said, lots of good display options, whether it be this, with him holding his donuts, with him having the little arm pieces exploded. Lots of different options for you. Now, for his articulation, because it is a die-cast figure, a lot of the same bits are there. The head here is on a ball joint. That's about as high up as it's going to go, so flight poses are going to be kind of limited like that. Does rotate left and right. This piece here, the lower portion of the neck, does kind of wiggle, but because it's oblong shaped, it doesn't really rotate or anything. When you have this in there, you get a lot more range of motion. As you can see, you got like the lower neck section and then at the base, so you do get more articulation there. The shoulders can slide out like so you can get a nice butterfly joint going there. This piece here is on a hinge and a ball joint, so you can move this out of the way and kind of cover things up as you move the arms around. And then you also do have the rotation, the nice hinge moving in and out, rotates at the upper part of the bicep. It's got two joints here at the elbow for what they say is about 160 degree range of motion, which is really very nice. Come down to the waist area, get all this stuff kind of resituated back up there. Come down here to the waist. The waist section does detach. When you have it collapse down like that, you get a little bit of wiggle, not a lot. You want to really extend it all the way up. It has 3 separate segments that allows for a much wider range of motion with it side to side, twisting, forward, back, all that stuff. And I love how when you do it underneath, the kind of look of the suit carries over, so it doesn't really break up the look there, which is fantastic. Now the hips are a little bit tricky, at least on my figure here. Oh, well, you also do have the rotation here at the wrist. These little pieces do move forward. The back section here moves forward, so you can hinge these up, get a little bit of range of motion, about that far or so, can go in and out. Has a big ball joint up there, so it kind of rotates, but then you also have the upper thigh. The hips also do slide down, although it's really stiff on this one. And oh, there we go. All right. This one I'm not going to mess with, but you can see that then makes this leg a lot longer, so you get a much further range of motion in and out, side to side, and then you can collapse that right back up and get this. And when you do that, it kind of, again, kind of shifts everything, so it's kind of messing this up a little. I feel like maybe that's pushed up much higher than it needs to go by the looks of it. That's possible. So yeah, I'll just keep that down like so. So keep that around there. So you do get that. That's something that's kind of gone away in a couple recent figures. So it's nice to see that that's back. You also do have two joints here at the knee for a really deep curl there as well. As I said, you do have the rotation at the upper part of the thigh. The ankles do have a slight pivot to them. They also move forward and back a little. You also do have a little bit of a toe, but you can kind of move this back, grab hold of this, and extend that down, and you get a better tilt with it and a more deep range of motion with the forward and back of the ankle. So collapse that back up like so, and lots of articulation in the figure. All of it is fairly standard, as I said, but as I mentioned, in several recent releases of Iron Man figures, we haven't gotten things like the hip collapse, and that's, like I said, nice to see back in there again. It gives you a lot of different posing options and really does help to kind of sell the fact that this is a much higher quality collectible. But thanks guys for tuning in and watching. Remember, if you like this video, I would really appreciate your support by letting me know simply by hitting that thumbs up button. It actually does go a long way towards helping me out, and I would really appreciate it. As for the diecast Mark IV here, this is a terrific figure. The whole diecast line has really impressed me, and it's always terrific when we're able to get one of the original Hall of Armor suits. The Mark IV here, in addition to like the 3, would probably be, at least in my opinion, one of the most classic and iconic looking suits for Iron Man. The gold, the kind of bulkiness of the suit really does have a very classic feel. A lot of the newer suits, you know, the colors are a little bit off. There's more red, there's more gold, whatever the case may be, and because in a lot of the newer movies, such as Infinity War, Civil War, even Spider-Man Homecoming, they're a lot more form-fitting and a lot less bulky. This has that classic look, which I love. Everything down from the figure to the accessories that you get, I feel, is a terrific value. And while yes, I do have the original Mark IV, this is a noticeable improvement over that. And if you have the money and are willing, this is a great way to update that look if you have that Mark IV in your collection. Now, unfortunately, at a lot of places, the diecast Mark IV is sold out. But as always, with most Hot Toy figures, as soon as they're released, they go up for pre-order on places such as Big Bad Toy Store. So for that, I'll put a link down in the video description. You can go to BBTS and check out all of the other Hot Toy figures that are out there, pre-order them, have a fairly considerable amount of time to save up that money, and then when the figure's released, it should be well paid for. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. But before I go, I want to send a huge thank you if you made it all the way to the end of this review. Another way that you can really help support my content is making sure that you watch a video all the way through. And if you did that, thank you. Also, a huge shout out to all of my patrons, who through their continued support, now more than ever, help to make reviews like this possible. And if you'd like to be one of those people, feel free to check out my Patreon page at patreon.com/Optibotimus. And finally, remember, the real trouble with the world is too many people grow up. Thank you for watching and taking the time to be a kid.